Welcome back into the Sports Source. The segment brought to you by Calhoun's, the taste of Tennessee. It's time to start talking about their holiday packs because starting November 26th, that's this week, through December 25th, that's Christmas, give them 24 hours notice, and Calhoun's will provide the turkey, the dressing, the peas, the potatoes, the gravy, the bread, even the cheesecake for dessert. Don't do the kitchen work yourself. Have Calhoun's do it. It's going to be great food, and then it's just easier on you or whoever's doing the cooking in your home. Calhoun's, the taste of Tennessee, especially during the holiday season. Check them out online to learn more. All right, back with Chuck, Jimmy, Mike, Josh, and I'll start with Mike, Josh. Any concerns that Tennessee allowed Missouri to find a little life on offense? We are picking nits here, okay? Derek Dooley and Missouri hadn't scored in 32 consecutive drives. They hadn't scored a touchdown in 32 drives. They got 2 touchdowns against Tennessee last night. They hadn't scored a TD against Georgia or Florida. They scored 1 against Kentucky, 2 against Vandy, 2 against the Vols. Any concerns that the defense gave up some life to Missouri?
I don't have any concern. I thought that Missouri would have a chance to bounce back a little bit. I thought they'd come out revved up, final home game. Kelly Bryant trying to get things going after playing the week before, so that probably helped a little bit. One of those touchdowns on a bit of a trick play, so Jeremy Pruitt might like that because that's something to show him on tape. I'm also affected by the fact the next game's Vanderbilt.
Yes.
And if they were playing a higher level opponent, I would say, yeah, you have more concern, but Tennessee's going to be at home against Vandy.
That was the answer I was
Well,
I worked my way there. Guys didn't.
The 32 drives, too. I mean, you're bound to get lucky eventually, right? And like Josh said, the second one was off the block field goal. It went 10 yards. I think they got their ball at their own 41-yard line, right? So you gave them a short field to score on, and they had to pull a trick play to get a score. So, you know, I don't necessarily see that as a big concern other than the block field goal.
Let me give you a real concern here. This will be the one that gets me the tweets this week. In 2 games against Derek Dooley's offense, Jeremy Pruitt's defense has lost 70-41. Now 50-17 last year, but still, I'm going to hold that stat out there until
but didn't
they
Derek
turn it
Dooley
around.
look miserable on the sidelines last night?
I hope he was.
I mean,
All right, Jimmy Chuck, I had a bunch of people ask me this week. You got to give Pruitt a raise and extension, don't you? And then, Jimmy, we talked on Friday for your radio show, and you mentioned to me that you'd had some people say, well, he's SEC Coach of the Year, or ask about that. Gentlemen, do you give Jeremy Pruitt a raise and extension for, he's now 6-5. If he wins next week, he's 7-5.
I'm going to probably agree with what you say, so you go first.
What is that? No, Jimmy, make him go first.
Yes, yeah. I mean, the landscape is now yes. I mean, if you look at how this season has turned around, I mean, I don't know how much of a raise. I don't know how the extension works, but he's earned it. I mean, when you're 1-4 and you're having a meeting basically about how to save the season, and you look at how things have turned around. Look at Vanderbilt yesterday before Tennessee played. Derek Mason is 2-8, and they announced he's coming back for another year. So if you use that as your measuring stick, yeah, you do something.
First off, you don't use Vanderbilt. Okay, let's start with that. Secondly, you gave up 2 touchdowns to Derek Dooley.
There you go.
See what I'm talking about. Thirdly, let's see the season play out. Look, if I think it's going to go that way. We needed to let the season play out when Tennessee's 1-4, right? I think they're going to beat Vanderbilt. Let's wait and see what they do with Vanderbilt. Let's let this season play out and see where you are. But if you're 7-5, you're going to give him an extension. I think he would get a little bit of a raise. And while I do give him credit for turning around a 1-4 start, I still blame the coaches for losing to Georgia State because they didn't have them ready and not being in a prevent defense against Brigham Young. So you did a lot of good the second half of the season. The first part of the season, you almost let this season get destroyed.
Yeah, I agree. I think an extension, I don't know how big of a raise, if a raise. An extension
So,
technically is a raise. That's just adding to your buyout and everything.
Right.
I think an extension sends the right message to everybody that you're still here. I don't know that you need to give them a raise. Again, wouldn't be digging out of the hole if you hadn't started in a hole.
And I'm also looking at what you took over, which was 0-8 in the SEC and 4-8 when you took over the program. And from where that is to where it is now, I think the reward is as much for where it is and what you feel like you might have moving forward as anything else.
I would also consider, what are you going to be doing with your assistants? If you have any changes and you have to go make some hires, money allocation has to factor in. So depending on what you do with your assistant pool could affect what you do with Jeremy Pruitt's salary as well.
Again, I look at the extent. I think it's interesting. Everybody around here wants to give out raises.
Yes.
And then as soon as they have to buy somebody out, it's how did we give these people so much money? I mean, that's it's always interested me that and maybe it's just half the population says give them a raise, and the other half's always, how do we pay them so much? But it does seem like quick to give raises and then angry when the raises get given.
Yeah.
See Rick Barnes. All right, who played best for the Vols yesterday? Who played worst? We got the Doves and the Vultures next, and Mike Stahl is going to be an honorary Vulture today. Come on back on the Sports Source.
Hey, when you're away from home, catch us on Facebook Live, our YouTube channel, or on SportsSource.tv.
Let's do it.
This is the Sports Source.